For those who are born in the 90s, me, I'm talking about myself, we have witnessed the transformation from analog to digital right before our eyes, from the use of CD to cloud, clamshell phone to touchscreen smartphone, the use of media player to streaming services. It was a special time where the early adopters brings innovative ideas to the floor. As we all know, the electric car revolution is taking over sooner as you think. With that, it brings new industries. Welcome to the Cool Car Guys. So what does this relate to electric cars then, you may ask? Well, today I want to discuss on the topic of personalization, sound design to be specific. Well, personalization is important as it distinguishes what's yours and what's from others. It reflects your taste and style. While taking out the ICE engine from today's cars, it will essentially reduce the noise to a minimal level. Well, that sounds great, right? Well, electric cars have the advantage of being quiet because there are only a few moving parts that are needed to power the car. Well, my concern is, will the future be dead silent? Remember the Nokia memorable message ringtone? And fast forward to today, this ringtone. All these sounds remind you of an action needed to be taken, and without them, there will be no shared language between you and your phone. And this applies to the sound design for cars. The lack of sound can create added risk for drivers who rely on engine sound to get a sense of their speed. There should be a recognizable indication of speed increasing and speed decreasing. For pedestrians who rely heavily on sound to determine whether there are oncoming traffic before crossing, even as a regular buyers who have never driven a loud car before, there's a certain expectation that there should be an auditory response when pressing the pedal. Automotive manufacturers are now required to fit acoustic sound system to electric vehicles to make them audible. Many argue, why putting sound on a gesture that you're already familiar with? While people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. The sound of a machine is essentially designed based on the psychological effect on a human. And that's why sound design is important. BMW has collaborated with Hans Zimmer to design the interactive soundscape for their latest iX lineup. Well, let's hear the result. Sound design is essentially creating the voice of the vehicle, giving them a special identity. The artist has designed different compositions when the car is set in different driving modes, from starting the engine with the push of button to revving the vehicle. Each sound profile gives a distinctive feeling to accentuate their emotional driving experience. While another artist, Yuri Suzuki from Pentagram, a world-famous design firm, has developed a new family of sounds for electric vehicles. He emphasizes the importance of sounds for electric car, and the selection of sound should be useful. He further proposed the in-car sound should be adaptive to 3 different variables: the time of the day, the location of the vehicle, and calendar-based information about the habits of the driver. Meaning the sounds of acceleration at 8 in the morning might sound different 8 at night. While other car makers have decided to make futuristic copies of gasoline engine for some of their new electric vehicles, giving the drivers a sense of familiarity to their brand. While personalization indeed is a good thing, however, it is not the best idea, because people will likely choose what sounds coolest to them, not necessarily what is most useful. Tesla is giving its owner another way to express their individuality. Users can now change their horn to another stock sound and projected outwards from an external speaker. Imagine if you replace the sound of a honk with an unfamiliar sound to the pedestrians, they might not be notified immediately in the event of an accident. Not to mention, the city will be filled with unnecessary noises if everyone chooses their own sound. With the rise of new industry, there should be a regulation. Ini dah boleh lah. On one hand, the car makers needs to alert the drivers and the pedestrians. On the other, they need to upkeep the brand identity and to attract new buyers. The option to personalize your car is not a bad thing to begin with. However, it should be carefully articulated as it involves a bigger ecosystem. As of today, there are no strong guidelines on what sound can be allowed. But it is important to keep these guidelines in mind. Well, if you like more content about electric car news, show me a little support by subscribing to this channel. Don't forget to share with your cool car friends. Until then, see you in the next video. Bye!